Alright guys, can you hear me now? Yeah, it's coming through now. Alright. Sorry about that, guys. I don't know what's going on. I had to unplug and replug in my mic. Just a quick overview here. This is Battalion Combat Series, Last Blitzkrieg, designed by Dean Essig, published by Multi-Man Publishing. Give me a second here. Yes, so designed by Dean Essig and published by Multi-Man Publishing. It's a battalion divisional scale game. It kind of fits a nice area between a tactical and an operational level war game. For instance, like Operational Combat Series. So this is like one step down from that. It's not as fiddly with things like supply and attacking. That like OCS is. It's very streamlined, and I enjoy it a lot. If you guys missed, well, you guys probably didn't miss it, you just didn't hear about it, but Panzer Lehr failed both of their activation rolls. And I'm going to go through an activation again here with CCR9. So you guys are going to catch what I was trying to do with 2nd Panzer, but failed to do so just because the dice rolls weren't with them today. So what you saw me do is every time you activate a unit, you need to check the roll against the snafu table. That's really the meat and potatoes of this game. That's what drives your divisions along, is this snafu table. This is what determines what you can and can't do with your different divisions and different units. So rolling good on this table is good. What you saw with 2nd Panzer was they failed both of their activations, so they couldn't really do anything other than shift units to from their movement state to their attacking side, and flip their supply marker up here. So what we're going to do, CCR9, they got a great activation. They got a full-on pass on the snafu table. We're going to drop 2 objective markers. Because when you do get a full pass, you can place 2 objective markers. The objective markers kind of determine where your units can attack. You can double stack these objective markers in a hex to get a DRM bonus in combat, and that's what we're going to do. What I was just discussing was CCR9 is a pretty weakened division. You can see here Task Force Harper. They're a pretty powerful armored unit. Except they only have 1 step left, and this is they're reduced from prior fighting. Again, this is around like the middle of the campaign, and this again just kind of revolves around the Bastogne scenario. So these guys have kind of taken a beating, and then they've got Task Force Booth up here, which again they're only a 2-step unit. You can see the 2 denoted up here. They're not super powerful, but we're just kind of get them in places to kind of stuff the oncoming German divisions. I mean, we've got Panzer Lehr and the 26th Volksgrenadier getting ready to start pushing west. So we're going to drop these 2 objective markers, and I'm debating whether even if I want to fight with them or if we just want to put them where we can just be a nuisance to the Germans. So let's do this. I've got a fatigue at 2 already. You know what? We're not going to move them. We're just going to kind of use them as a roadblock. Let's get rid of these markers. We will end up moving the HQ unit, and we're going to push our combat trains back a little bit further. But for now, You know, I guess we could go into a prepared defense. We've got artillery to do it. Let's do that. Let's get these guys on a prepared defense. And what this means is they'll get bonuses, you know, when they're attacked, essentially. So we'll drop one there on him, and then another on them. While he is here, let's use some of this allied air. We rolled for our air up here. We've got 4 points of air this turn. And let's start by smashing some of these units. And actually, we're going to keep the air, and we're going to use some of CCR9's intrinsic artillery value. So if you see this little explosion symbol here, and it's got a 1 next to it, yes, Herschel, I am using Vassal. This is on Vassal. I'm using Vassal because it's just easier for my setup. I don't have to move my video camera around to my gaming table to try to film, you know, the board game. So because I do a lot of computer game streaming as well, it's just easier to do it all on Vassal. Each headquarters has a supply of artillery, or a number of artillery barrages given to it, you know, per the scenario setup. So CCR9 here has 1 intrinsic, and he's got another one assigned. That's what this symbol is. So he has 2 artillery barrages he can use, whereas 2nd Panzer had 3 intrinsic and 2 more assigned for a total of 5. So we're going to go ahead and drop some artillery. Let's go ahead and hit this unit here. He's a 5-step unit, and artillery is really simple. You see Task Force Harper. We're going to go ahead and we can use 1 point of artillery because it's outside of normal combat. If I was to attack the first of the 902nd Panzer Layer here, then I could use more artillery. If you're not attacking a unit directly with another combat unit, you can only spend 1 point of artillery on that unit. So we're going to go ahead and use this point of artillery on him. It's an infantry unit. He is in terrain, I believe. Let's go ahead and look at that. If you look at your terrain chart, so he's in rolling hills. And if we look on the terrain effects chart, you can see rolling hills does apply for terrain for combat barrage. So terrain and or prepared defense, we need a 4 to 6 on the roll to reduce 1 step. So we're going to roll. He got a 1. That barrage fire was ineffective. It didn't do anything. We're also going to, let's see here. Where is it? I'm looking for the not the fatigue increase. We want to decrease some of his fatigue here because he's sitting on a 2. Let's go to the rules here. It's always good to have your rules handy, guys. Fatigue, increasing fatigue, recovery formations must have the combat trains in illegal hex. Okay, we're not in illegal hex just yet, so we can't decrease the fatigue as of yet. Clean up. Fatigue isolation effects. Yeah. All right. Okay. So now that's done. We're sitting in prepared defense. We're going to move our trains back. So that's 1. Let's move him all the way back towards we'll drop him here. That's a good place. When you move your combat trains, you just kind of pick them up and drop them wherever you want. He'll stay on his go side because he moved. So whenever you voluntarily move, or even whenever a combat train gets moved, it does flip to its go side. And actually, let's kick him back a little bit further here. And we are also going to move. Yeah, we'll leave it. It's fine. We'll leave the prepared defense there. We're going to go ahead and try to roll for a second activation here. So let's mark him finished. Let's mark him done. He needs a 5 or better on this activation. He got a 4. So this division is done. Where is it? Mark done. Mark finish. There we go. And we're going to unhighlight it. And that's it. So that's 2 activations down. So we're back to the German side here. So what to do? I think what we're going to do, guys... God. Still bummed 2nd Panzer got stuffed. I don't know what those guys are thinking. But let's go ahead and see what Panzer Lehr's up to. Now, even though these units down here got highlighted, they're actually assigned to the 26th Volksgrenadier, or they're under their command for this scenario. So we will not be moving these guys with the 26th. So what do they have here? What are their combats like? Alright. Well, let's go ahead and get some combat down, huh? I'm sure that's what you guys came to see. And I am by no means, an expert strategist at this game. So I may make mistakes. I'm sure I'll make rules mistakes and go back and reread them, or you guys will point them out. But that's part of being a wargamer, right? We always make mistakes. Really need to get this Task Force Harper out of the way. Let's see if we can get him up there. We can. Alright, so we are going to move this guy here, Kampfgruppe von Falloy. I'm sure I'm butchering that name. To attack Task Force Harper here, just to push him out of the way. Maybe that'll lead to a follow-on attack against Team Cherry up here from the CCB-10. So, we flipped into his attack side, his attack mode. He's got 6 movement points. He's a tracked vehicle denoted because it's a red movement point, whereas this is white, which means leg movement. Black, if you look here, that's truck movement. So, depending on what you're traveling on, what kind of terrain, is going to dictate how many movement points or percentage of movement points is going to be used moving that unit. So we want to get him here. What's the easiest way to do that? Well, we could go over. That's a slope. Oh, no, that's not a slope. That's rolling hills. Okay, so how much would it cost to go from here to here? Well, it's rolling hills, so it would cost us 3 movement points, which I've got 6. I'm fine with that. So these tanks are going to move right there. Now, because he is a red attack unit, and he has a red armor value, and that's what this 4 is here, and because Task Force Harper has a red armor value here, he has to do what's called a stopped engagement, which if we go back and look at our engagement zones, so if a tactical movement unit, which is again units here with a red, they must stop upon entering an AV enemy zone of control. AV being armor value, enemy, or is armor value or anti-tank, something like that. It's one of those two. AV EZOC. Unless they eliminate the AV EZOC, real AV EZOCs require stopping engagements. That's what this is, because this is a real unit. Sometimes divisions can have support attached, and we'll get into that a little bit later, especially when we're attacking the 101st down here, because these guys do have support, and that's going to make a difference when we're attacking them. So even though they don't have, a red or an armor value on their chits, because they have a support unit, this 705th unit is considered, dispersed, throughout every single 101st Airborne, battalion along the defense here. But we'll get into that a little bit more a little bit later when we get to that. So we've got to conduct a stopping engagement. So we're going to look at the engagement chart here. And like I said earlier on in the stream, which you guys probably didn't hear, just due to the technical difficulties, we're going to fight. Combat is really simple in this game. Um, an engagement is considered, now you have engagements and you have your regular combat. An engagement is considered, basically a tank battle or a tank duel, if you will, where, units that have an armor value are fighting other, units that have an armor value. Sometimes you can do it at range. So if we look again at Task Force Harper here, he's got an armor value of 4. This lower 2 here is the range, so he can engage units up to 2 hexes away as long as there's not terrain blocking. So if a unit was here and another unit was here, he could shoot across this big open field at 2 hexes away. That's important because if you engage units that can't shoot back at you, well, you don't take any damage regardless of what the combat result is. So you kind of have to keep that stuff in mind. The 2 above the range up here is its AR rating, its action rating, and that's considered, the morale of the troops, how well, they're trained, and things like that. So, what you do to conduct an engagement, you take the base AV number plus its action rating, and then you're going to apply some of these DRMs. Now, with an engagement, you don't have to... Did we roll? Shit. We didn't roll for his snafu, I don't believe, did we? I don't think we did. Let's go ahead and roll Panzerlehr snafu before we do this. Sorry, guys. Not really sure why the sound keeps on dropping, guys. You should be able to hear it now, though. Can you guys hear it now? All right. So it looks like the sound's back again. I'm just checking the streams here. Okay, fantastic. Thanks, Herschel, for staying on top of that and letting me know. Let's see here. Where was I? Shoot. Yes, so because that HQ unit had to move through another division's unit, both divisions get a coordination marker dropped on it as a negative DRM. Conf group, these guys here, they advanced after combat. Each unit has 2 fire engagements. Well, these armor units have fire engagements. You can attack up to twice. So what they're going to do is, I think they're going to stop here because they, even though Team Cherry has a red AV value, when you advance after combat, it's not required that you have to do another stopping engagement. But we are going to attack him shortly. But what we want to do is we want to move. Just trying to see if I can get units in there. We may have overstretched him a bit because if we flip him 4, so he gets 2 movement points. That's not going to be enough to move through that terrain, I don't think. Not for them. Or for leg, yeah, that is. 1. It costs 1 hex. So, for this scenario, and I'll go ahead and show you guys here, the terrain was mud. And what that does is it halves movement costs for everybody. Or for truck. Is it truck? Yeah, for truck movements, I believe. Let me double check here. Restrictions on movement, blah, 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 blah. Weather. You know, it actually may be up here. Yes, mud, freeze, blah, 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 blah. Alright, so it should be in the front with turn sequence here. Force sense weather. You know what? I think it's in the last Blitzkrieg notes here. Weather, yes, ground, mud. Truck MA units are always half MA. All other unit types are normal. So we're going to move him off of his truck movement here. Now we're leg movement, denoted by the white 4. And we're going to move him right across here, and we're going to help out the conf group here. So what we want to do, we're going to try to drop some artillery here. Now, we did only get a partial activation, which is going to determine, I believe, what we can use half of our artillery points. So, Panzerlehr here, you can see that they have 4 artillery points available. They have 2 intrinsic and 2 attached to them. We take half of that, we can use 2. So we're going to use 1 as a destruction mission. And artillery comes in 2 flavors, 2 different mission types. You can do a destruction or a suppression mission. Destruction actually reduces, or has the ability to reduce step losses on units, whereas a suppression mission gives your units a positive DRM in combat. So what we're going to do is we're going to do one destruction mission. Now this is a hard unit, denoted by the yellow armored symbol here. So the only way we're going to get him on an artillery destruction mission is if we get a natural 6. We rolled a 1. That's nothing. So let's roll it right into combat. So combat. We're going to actually be attacking with this conf group here. And it's a little bit, it's similar to how you do engagements, but there's a few differences here, and we're going to go over that. Regular combat is really based off of your unit's action rating, which is this 5. And then you get bonuses if you're a dual or supported unit. In which case this unit is dual because it does have an armor value and it does have an action rating. As well as it has this arrow here. The only units that can perform regular combat like this are units that are denoted by the arrow here. So all these units here have an arrow, which means that they can attack. So let's go ahead and do this out. Again, combat is super simple. You take the action rating of the unit. So this is a 5. He's a dual unit, so we're going to get a +1. So that's 5 + 1. We drop that suppression mission. We said we're going to use our second artillery point, so that's another +2. He's going to get an assist from this unit here, the 1st of the 902nd from Panzer Lehr. We're not going to use his action rating because it's less than this one, so that would be silly. But this unit is going to assist us. In combat, you can only have one unit assist you. You don't get, it's not compounded, this DRM. So we're going to get a +1 for an assist. It's not a double objective zone. It'd be nice if it was, but it's not. The attacking formation does not have prepared defenses. We're not doing a shock attack. And then we got to do the defenders. So he's a 3. There is no hex side terrain. He's a dual unit, so he will get a terrain bonus here. We only use one of these, so he's going to get a +1 for a total of 4. And the attacking Germans here is 5 + 1, 6, 7, 8, 9. So that's going to give us a dice roll modifier of +5. And we're going to roll it here and apply the results based upon this combat table down here. So we roll our 2d6. We got a 9 + 5, which is 14, which is going to be the defender loses 2 steps, and the defender has to retreat. So we decrease his steps. He's down to 3 steps, and he has to retreat. Retreating in this game is 3 hexes, backwards, towards, away from the enemy. So where should we move him? Now we can put him on this rail system here. We can go 1, 2, 3. We could actually move him 1, 2, 3 up to Borsy, which might not be so bad because, again, because 2nd Panzer didn't activate, it would be nice to have a unit there to stop 2nd Panzer from, coming up, their historical route up through Borsy, Noville, and then down through Foy, and then, out and around off the western edge of the map. So that is what we're going to do. We're going to go 3 hexes, 1, 2, 3. We're going to end up in Borsy. And that's where he is. And both the attacking unit and the unit that gave the assist can advance after combat into that hex. And they're finished, so they can't do anything else for that turn. Where was that? That was right there. No, that was right there in Longevity. And that's the game. That's how simple it is to roll combat in this game. Once you get the rules down, it plays out really, really fast. So let's go ahead and finish out moving the rest of Panzer Lehr. He can move 2. What is track? I can't remember what track terrain is for these guys. Half. So he's got 4 movement points. So he could really move up to 8 hexes. We could attack. Let's go attack these guys here. Or maybe we want to come down. Push out CCB 10 down here. Let's see what other units we have here, guys. Now this Jagdpanzer down here, the 130th, you can see his armor value is just silhouetted. He's considered a limited armor value, which means they're better in defense than they are in attack as far as like engagements. You can see, you know, if he goes and tries to attack another armor unit, he's going to get a -1 DRM. So let's look at what we got. Right now, this unit is in its support mode, which means that all of these other infantry units have access to these guns, essentially, when being attacked, anyway. Alright. We're going to move the 2nd of the 901st Panzerlehr. We're going to move him down here, and we're going to try to attack CCB-10 down here. So, he's got 4 movement points, which is going to be halved due to his partial snafu roll here. He can move half MA. So, he's got 2 movement points. Nice thing is, he is moving on a track, which is half, you know, only costs half a movement point. So he's got 2 movement points. So 1, he's going to stop here, and we're going to attack him, but we may want to get some backup in there. If we flip him, how far can he go? He's not going to be able to get there. It's going to be down to 6 for being in mud if he travels in truck. And that is that a secondary road? Is that a track? That's a track. This truck costs 1, so he'd have a total of 6. So he would be 1, 2, 3. All right, let's see if we can get this unit up here to Brass to see if he can support him. So this would be track 1. Alright, so he has a total of 6 to use. So it'll be 1, 2, 3. And then now he's on the primary or secondary road, which is going to be cost half movement points. So he's used 3 already. So 4, 4.5. Alright, we're going to drop him off right there. Give me just a sec. Just looking at something. Alright. And we're going to attack Team O'Hare here. We have no more artillery to use. We've used all of our artillery for this activation. So this is just going to be a regular straight up combat. So we're going to use the 2nd of the 901st Panzerlehr. His action rating is 4. Oh, you know what? I'm sorry guys, we can't even attack him. We can't attack him because he's not within 2 hexes of the objective marker. So that attack is not going to happen. I'm going to leave those guys there. I've already moved them. I'm not going to move them back. But we'll just finish off moving the rest of Panzerlehr and get them positioned in case they do get a second activation. So this guy can move 14. Track for tactical movement is 1. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Secondary road is a half. 1, 2. Alright, we're going to drop him right there. Now, stacking limitations, you can have 2 units, 2 combat units in a hex. And then what we need to do is, let's move Panzerlehr's HQ. We're going to move him down here. And again, just like with the supply chits, the HQ chits, you just drop and drag them where you want them. They have to be on a road though, a road network. So either a track, a primary road, secondary road. I think they can be on a railroad. I'll double check. Let's grab his artillery.